Entrepreneur life, it's not for everyone. It's certainly not for the faint of heart. Being an entrepreneur will cause you to experience some of the highest highs and the lowest lows. It's easy to get so wrapped up in all of it and define yourself by however people are defining your company or your success or your failure, and it can chew you up and spit you out. Entrepreneurship has affected me in a lot of positive ways. I mean, honestly, I've made a lot of money doing it. I have learned a lot of things. I feel fulfilled. I feel as if I'm doing what I'm meant to do, and knowing that I have control of my own destiny is very empowering.
Entrepreneur life is unique. It's not like anything else that I've ever experienced. It's pushed me to grow as a person in more ways than I can ever imagine.
Entrepreneur life is fast-paced for me. That's affected my mental health in a positive way, mainly that I feel like I can be productive, and I know how to be productive even in my personal life because I've learned it in my professional life.
Entrepreneur life is freeing. It allows you to be you. Before I started this company with my husband, I was working in a corporate setting, in a corporate salon, and there was no room for personal growth. There was no room for growth within the company. I was simply told to do these things to make the company more money. But now that I've left that world and I've spent more time on myself and on my business, I'm free. I'm free to grow who I am.
The way that it's most positively affected my life is that it's required me to learn things that I never would have thought to teach myself. From business to finance to production timelines to building a network. As a whole, I think it's just made me appreciate what it really takes to be an entrepreneur, what it takes to build a startup or design a product or sell products or build a small business. And those are things I would not have ever learned had I not, taken the first step.
I get to wake up in the morning and do something that I care about and that I love and that matters and makes a difference. It's everything. I can't imagine something more fulfilling. And I mean, there's a flip side of the coin. Entrepreneur life is really, really fucking hard. It's just constant, day in, day out questions, not knowing the exact path forward. I don't know. There's a lot of frustration and uncertainty and fear, and sometimes anger and sometimes sadness when things don't work out.
Entrepreneur life is also the hardest thing I've ever done. You're pushing yourself. You're setting yourself up for rejection and failure. If you've never done that before in your life, you're now taking this on. If you're in a business that's skyrocketing, the pressure can be enormous. So that's just been, I've gone through multiple phases of almost a breakdown or just hitting my limits. And I think that's also where growth comes from, in those limits. But very much so, it feels like, your world's coming to an end. I remember when I used to have $20 problems. And now I have $20,000 problems, and that weight is just a lot different than it used to be.
Entrepreneurship can be tough on people that are in relationships. So whoever your partner is going to have to share you with the business. So are your kids, or your grandkids, or your nieces, your nephews. Why? Because this isn't a 9-to-5 thing. The business calls you, and I mean calls you like, things go wrong. There's fires to put out. There's employees to deal with. There's clients to work around. There's investors to talk to. And in the end, it can be all consuming. And the effect of that can be diminished health, diminished quality of relationships. There's a whole bunch of things that can go wrong if you don't have a good handle on being an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur life is all consuming sometimes, meaning there's not much separation between my personal life and my professional life. Sometimes my phone rings in the middle of the night. Sometimes I'm doing emails, paying bills at home when, really I should probably be hanging out with my kids more often, but there's no other time to get it done and still accomplish all the work I have to get done on the job. So that has negatively impacted my life in ways at times, for sure.
I crack up when people are like, I want to work for myself so I have more free time, and it's just like, I think you have a very skewed vision of what entrepreneurship really is. Because there's no more you time, baby. It's business time all the time. So it could be a big weight on the mental health, especially because there's always something to do. And just when you think you may get caught up, a whole nother year's worth of work is presented. You complete one task, just have 50 more fall in your lap. And it just really sticks with you. It stays with you at night, in the morning, all the time.
It's an emotionally challenging journey. And I just mean that in the most simplest way. You have to deal with rejection. You have to balance the amazing things that happen and the doors that open and the relationships that you make and the people you're introduced to with hearing a lot of no's. I know a lot of people have preconceived notions about what being an entrepreneur is and building a small business is. And until they do it themselves, they don't. And so I would just encourage you to not let it impact you in a negative way. Each day is a new day. It's a new opportunity. And you have to have the mental fortitude to say, I'm going to keep going.
Now, I don't know how healthy it is, but my identity and my self-worth have been intertwined with my company. My Business Bros podcast is me. It's my image. And I know that if I am not successful at it, that's a direct reflection on me. I don't know how healthy it is. I don't know how productive it is. I just know that right now it really fuels me.
How has your identity and self-worth become fused with your company? In what ways? Oh, God. I'm not particularly proud of this. I'm not going to lie. But my identity is extremely tied up in what I do, and it always has been. InnovateHer is my baby. She belongs to me, and she is me. She is everything that I want to do for women and for our communities. And if she's not there yet, then she will be. And I think it is impossible to not allow a piece of yourself to become fused with something that you love so deeply and something that you care about so much. It's just, I don't think it's possible.
A lot of entrepreneurs begin to identify all parts of themselves with the success or failure of the business. I've done it. I did it a lot more when I was younger. Now, I honestly don't give a shit.
I would say that my identity and my self-worth are not infused with Mixtape. We've gone through lots of peaks and valleys, and I think when you start out, it's difficult to ride that emotional roller coaster. But as you get a little bit more seasoned and can look at those things objectively, you realize that self-worth and identity are not found in the things that I do, they're found in who I am. If you don't get joy in it, I would stop doing it. The challenges are going to come no matter what you do, and you need to find joy in the fact that you're doing it. You're doing something different. You're working towards freedom, or you're working towards a financial goal, or you're helping employ people. Those are big things.
This is a hilarious question to me. What about your company keeps you up at night? The answer to that is everything. Being a founder, it's a constant grind, and it's constant questioning of yourself and what you're doing. And so the kinds of things that keep me up, sometimes they're the good things, thinking through something exciting that happened that day, or figuring out ways, how can we, I just had a really great epiphany and an idea on a way that we could serve our members better. But sometimes it's really scary stuff, like, hey, we don't have a lot of revenue runway at the moment. We're still waiting on payment from partners and stuff like that. Are we going to be able to, I don't know, can I pay the mortgage can I pay myself this month? Can I pay the mortgage this month? Am I the right person to be doing this? And are we doing what we do to the best of our ability? It just runs the gamut, like the kinds of things that clutter your mind. At 3 a.m. when you just bolt upright and you're like, oh shit, I forgot that.
The things that keep me up at night about my company are really, I think about it 24/7, and I think about everything. So that's a tough one. But I would say it's the people. Do we have the right people in the right spots? Am I overworking my people? Do I have quality? Are we kicking out quality? What about our relationships with our clients? Are they solid? And I just trust my team so much. There's not a ton about it that keeps me up at night, other than I'm the leader. I am choosing where we go, if we make the right moves or not. Imposter syndrome, those kinds of things. Am I enough? Am I going to be able to lead this company to our potential as a team? That's what keeps me up at night.
Cash flow. Cash flow is the thing that keeps me up at night. That's the thing that really is the lifeblood of my business. So if I'm running short on any particular month, it means I'm going to have to dip into my own personal savings, and I don't want to have to do that. So, or explain that to the wife, let's be honest, right? That's really what it comes down to.
I don't know if anything keeps me up at night anymore about Mixtape. We have some things going on in the background that could have a direct effect on Mixtape and its future, but I have peace with it. I've taken it this far. I've done the things that I needed to do to get it this far. I've knocked on doors. I've applied to accelerators. I've made a concerted effort to try and make it as successful as I can, and I have to just kind of stand on that. I go to sleep knowing that if I get up and I do the things I need to do to keep Mixtape going, that eventually that will pay off, and I will see it continue to succeed.
I sleep pretty well because I do construction all day, but when I do get kept awake at night, it's usually wondering if the homeowner is going to be happy with some decision that I made, and if they're going to like it. And did I forget something? Did they tell me something throughout this whole process of 6 months, and I forgot and just did what I thought I was supposed to do, but it wasn't the right thing?
So when it comes to what keeps me up at night, inefficiency, missed opportunities, poor leadership, toxic people, a whole lot of things can keep you up at night as an entrepreneur. Hold my beer.
See, look at this guy. You want to get a beer later? Yeah, baby.
I really hate talking about work-life balance. It's very frustrating to me. How do you work-life balance? I think the secret that we don't talk about enough is that the answer to that question is we really don't. We can have it all, but we can't have it all at the same time. Your priorities and your balance it's going to shift constantly. You are constantly reacting to the environment around you, the things that are happening in your life, and you're just going to have to be very open to changeability and adaptability. It doesn't stop. None of it ever stops. There's not one point in time where you're focusing on just life. And there's not one point in time where you're focusing on just work, or, just the kids. Like, we always have all of these things existing in our heads all at the same time. And so you just kind of have to determine which one am I going to pull out at any given moment to get what I need to be done and be happy and be fulfilled done.
Me personally, I spend a lot of time working. I actually love what I do. I love talking to people. I love creating new pieces of content. I love playing with that video editing software, with my Canva. I like doing that sort of stuff. So when there's nothing to do, or when, you're at home watching TV or whatever, I will pop open my laptop and I'll do something, because That's actually where my attention wants to be. To me, it's fun. It's like I'm playing. I'm having fun. There's no such thing as playing too much, right? Or is there? Would I get in trouble for that too? So you're either working too much or you're playing too much. Either way, I'm having fun all the way through.
Overall, it's not just work life. It's your personal life, it's your professional life, and it's your physical life. If any one of those three gets off the rails, it will affect all three of them. So you got to make sure that you spend time smoothing out those three categories and doing something about it when one of them gets way more attention than the other. If you don't, eventually the category of personal, professional, and physical that isn't getting attention, it's going to come back and demand the attention. You're going to get sick. You're going to have a health problem. You're going to be so focused on your job and your business that your wife and kids bail because you're never around.
I think as an entrepreneur, you have to prioritize your health, your mental health, and you have to prioritize a work-life balance. You know, I always will balance my work and my real life, my family life. Because if my family life is off balance or out of order, my work life's going to suffer. And if my work life is taking over and keeping me from the things that give me true joy, which is my family, my son and my daughter and my parents, you know, and family vacations and anniversary parties and, you know, cookouts with friends and stuff like that, I never want that to go away, because that's what makes me a good employee. That's what makes me a good entrepreneur. That's what makes me a good small business owner.
Founder's depression is real. We've all had it. I've had it. I honestly can't tell you when, or I can think about phases or parts of my timeline when things felt down. And it is always related to things not going well, you not making money, and then all of a sudden sales come along. Sales cures ails, baby. When things are going well, you feel bulletproof. You can walk on water. You're on your way to the moon, baby. But when things aren't going well, the ship is headed towards the rocks. Oh man, this is a problem. Maybe I'm going to go broke. Everybody handles these things differently. So the mental health effects on being an entrepreneur are going to be way different across personality types. People that don't handle risk or loss or defeat well, they might be in for a hard run at being an entrepreneur. One thing I can guarantee is no matter how good you are at being an entrepreneur, no matter how many degrees or education or experience that you have, you are going to experience some setbacks. So you have to learn how to deal with those. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day, every day, all day.
I've been depressed for different spurts throughout my about to go on year 7 of being on my own. And sometimes it even happened because of success. There was a time toward the end of 2019, I had all of these things going great, but I don't do all these things for the financial means. And it's like I had set these goals, I had then accomplished them, and I was depressed because I didn't know where I was going next. I don't just work 12, 15 hours a day for 7 years straight for honestly my entire life, even before I was an entrepreneur. I don't do that just to make more money. I do that to achieve something, to achieve a goal. It was financial freedom, stability. I'd achieved those things, and I was just like, why am I doing this if I've already got all of these things? So that's a real story about it, but yeah, I've been there.
Founder's depression. Have I experienced it? Absolutely. Has my husband experienced it? Absolutely. I have yet to meet an entrepreneur who has not dealt with founder's depression. And it's so different from normal depression because it has a lot to do with just the weight of what feels like the world on your shoulders as well. I mean, there's so much uncertainty that comes with entrepreneurship. You know, in your head, you're like, yeah, this is going to be a success. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have all this time, all this money. And what you quickly find when you start a business is you have none of those things.
If I was going to define founder's depression, I would just say that it is depression based on your own measurement of where you're at, whether or not you've been successful, whether or not you're as far ahead as you thought you could be or thought you should be. I think the only time I've had real founder's depression was when I found a knockoff of Mixtape. And in doing the research, the knockoff came from someone that I had a conversation with about Mixtape. People take note of what's success and they want to jump on that success, so they build something that's similar. And once I realized that and looked at their product, I actually bought it because I wanted to see what was inside, I found out that it was a much shittier version of Mixtape, to be quite honest. I found myself coming out of the depression as soon as I had figured that out. But don't get down on yourself. This is hard. Anyone who's done it knows that. Look for people to encourage you. Look for people that will feed into your life with positive statements and hope, and get your head down and do the work.
How has founder's depression affected my team and my family? Let me count the ways. I've mentioned this before, but I experience depression and anxiety anyway. And so compounding that with just a shit ton of responsibility, and a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty is not always the best thing. And it definitely affects the people around me in very real ways. One of the things that I do is when I'm talking to my partner, and I've had a particularly tough day and I've been talking all day, like I'll come home and I'll just ask him, I'll be like, hey, I love you. I want to hear about your day. I want to tell you about my day, but I need an hour to myself. I've been peopling all day. So many people, constant. So I just need an hour to myself. I don't want to speak. I don't want to think. I'm going to turn it off for just a very finite period of time so that I can muster up the mental bandwidth to deal. And I'm very lucky that I have a partner who, doesn't take offense to that. And it's just like, okay, I'll see you in an hour.
Yeah, I've experienced it. See, here's the thing. You're on this entrepreneurial journey pretty much on your own when you start your own business. It is very lonely because you might have the greatest idea in the world and you go and share it with the person you love the most, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your spouses, and they don't see the same vision that you see. So they knock you down, right? They tell you, they try to keep you as safe as possible. They don't want you to risk it or make a mistake or fall down or whatever it is. So you tend to keep a lot of things to yourself. You take your losses all by yourself. Nobody hears about your losses, and yet you have to learn from these and chalk them up as results, as trials, as errors, as learning what it takes to be successful.
Have you experienced social isolation as a founder? Yeah, my answer is probably going to be a little different from some of the other folks who are answering this question right now, because my answer is not really. As community builders, it is my job and my role and my honor I have to be out in the community. I have to be meeting people. I have to be figuring out how we can support, individuals and groups and finding ways to kind of layer and stack our impact. And so I actually deal with the opposite problem.
When it comes to being isolated as an entrepreneur, the more successful you become, the harder it is to find other people that relate to you. And I think that's why so many entrepreneurs hang out with other entrepreneurs. And I know a lot of people that'll pick up the phone and talk to me and take my call and give me good advice. So really, in the end, I don't feel isolated and I don't feel alone.
Look, this is the truth right now. I think we're all going through this social isolation when it comes to things like COVID. I should really start picking up the phone and calling people just to call people. Remember that back in the day? Like I used to have all my friends' numbers memorized. Pick up the phone and freaking call somebody. That would cure social isolation for sure.
Luckily, I've not felt social isolation too much being a founder. And partly that's because I have a great crew that works around me. And I feel like I can, for the most part, just be myself, and I'm friends with these people, so I don't feel isolated that much. I feel like I could call on the crew I have currently. It's not always been like this. And say, hey, this is happening or that's happening, or I'm not doing good today, I'm not going to be there. So that's been great. It's not always been like that, though.
My entire life growing up before entrepreneurship, people just, I had nothing to really give them. So if they want to be my friend, they want to be my friend. In business, it's a little different. And you can find yourself drained. You can find yourself just being used by people. You can find yourself being misled, rejected. And it can cause you to isolate in a big, big, big way. So if you see someone really pulling back from society, if you see someone that's in business like pulling back from the things they used to do, maybe that's a sign that you should check on them. If that's you, reach out to someone. If you don't have a network, find one. Get a small network. It really only needs a couple of people that you can lean on when these things are happening and just be like, look, this is a really tough week. I've been going to therapy, and that's literally to get boundaries, to be able to say like, hey, I'm empty, like I need a week. Or, I wanted to get these skills even in business as well as my personal life, to be like, I am at zero. I've just been giving. I need to isolate and be able to effectively communicate that. So check on your friends. I'll say it again.
Nobody really knows what the hell you're going through unless they are also entrepreneurs. People do not understand what it takes to run a business until they have done it. So all of your friends, all of your family, these people sitting on the sidelines watching you, you can't relate to them anymore. They have nothing in common with you. And while that love for each other still stands, they have questions like, why would you do this to yourself? That's one question we get a lot. Why would you do this? You're out a whole bunch of money. It's a grind. You're constantly busy. You have no free time. Why would you do that? And the answer is because I love it. Goes back to that entrepreneurship is freeing. It is a weight, but it is also freeing. As heavy as entrepreneurship can be on your mental health, is also as light as it can be on your mental health. And you better believe you are going to go through every single one of those peaks and valleys more than once when you start a business.